y'all, welcome back. I'm Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. And this is my crafty channel, mostly cross stitch, a tiny little bit of knitting because I just started knitting, and a whole lot of fun. It is Monday, October 12th, and we're back for another cross stitch happy hour tonight. Yay! It's kind of later in the evening, and the girls are done taking their Zoom dance classes up here in the upstairs room, and my husband does not have a late night meeting that he sometimes has, so I get to film in the evening and have happy hour with you all, so cheers. Last week I had said that I was really kind of having a craving for some hot apple cider with maybe a shot of some cinnamon whiskey. And I was going to put that on the grocery list to get some apple cider. Didn't go to the grocery store last week, but we had some hard apple cider in the refrigerator out in our kind of extra fridge out in the garage. So not hot apple cider, which still sounds really good because it's gotten very rainy and windy here in the Pacific Northwest, which, not gonna lie, I love. I love the sound of the rain. I mean, as long as the power stays on, I don't mind the wind. But it is all the fall vibes. All the fall vibes here. And apple cider is just one of those fall things. So a little Angry Orchard, a little shot of Fireball. Yum. We're here to talk about some cross stitch and a little bit of knitting. I hope you all had a great week. It was a busy week for us. I think I mentioned last week that my middle daughter was able to take her ACT, so we did make our trip down to Olympia for that. She said she felt pretty good about it. Didn't think it was the best she had ever done, but doesn't think it's the worst. She had done a lot of prep and had taken a lot of practice tests in the early spring and then some over the summer, trying to get ready, had quit prepping for them altogether when both her September and October date had been canceled. So yeah, so we'll see. We figure if it was meant to be, then the score she gets is the score she was meant to have. So other than that, I don't know that there was a whole lot else going on, just the usual school and dance for the kids, and that's about it. Oh, kind of a little bit of exciting stuff, because I have a feeling that some of you might also be into this. I wouldn't say that we're into it, but my husband did order a Peloton bike this past weekend. So it won't be here for about 5 weeks, but yeah, our elliptical finally died. It was very, very old. The elliptical finally died. The husband was recently diagnosed with high blood pressure. We both need to get a little more exercise for sure. So ordered a Peloton. So if any of you guys are Peloton riders, way into the Peloton, hit me up, let me know what I need to know about the Peloton bike. I think that's pretty much all that happened this week, other than some stitching and knitting and work and all the regular things. So when I work on this week, I have 2 finishes that were both fully finished, a stitching finish and a knitting finish. So that's exciting. Worked on some other whips that I had planned to work on. Had a start that I was not planning on. I think there might be a few more starts coming this week. I know I'm supposed to be finishing things. I'm still working on finishing things. I really am. Okay, so, Q&A. I don't think that there was much in the Q&A section. Someone had asked if I had a Patreon. I do not. I don't have a Patreon. I have enabled the join feature on the channel. So if you're interested in just getting some extra content, some extra Two Martini Stitcher in your life, you can hit that join button. There's different tiers. I post up like a kind of a blog post once a week. I do little daily vlogs of what's happening around here. And at one of the tiers, we do some stitching meetups over Zoom. So that's always fun. I think that was the only real question I had. But I did get a chance to watch some Flosstube this weekend since I was hanging out down in the hotel waiting on Abby while she was doing her ACT. I'm woefully behind. I mean, I'm not behind, but I just feel like there's a lot more people I want to watch than I have time for. There's so much amazing Flosstube out there. But I did watch 3 people this week that are newer Flosstubers that I wanted to make sure you all know about, because it's not always easy to find the newer people. Okay, so the first person I watched this week that I really, really enjoyed that's brand new is Mary Ashcraft. And is that not the best last name ever? Ashcraft? Yes, I am saying that right. It's not Ashcroft, it's Ashcraft. And she has a stitching crafty channel. That's amazing. She's a delight. I think she has three floss tubes up. One that's kind of like an introduction and her whips, and then did some regular floss tube videos. I really enjoyed those, and so go check her out. The second person that finally started a floss tube, because he's been stitching for ages, is Scott Stitches in Spain. Yay! Scott's finally doing floss tube. Go check out Scott. He is so witty and funny and does just lots of fun stitching. He stitches some great things. He lives in Spain, and yeah, he's a delight. You will love him, I promise. He shows some of his like previous old, like not old, but like the first kind of things he was stitching. He still has, which I gotta say, Scott, if you're watching this, kudos to you that you moved that stuff to Spain. I give you huge props that you kept all of those things and moved them. I would have been like, oh, that's not, I'm not keeping that. But it's so fun to see. So fun to see some of the things when he first started out. And kind of he does a little Scott stitching journey. It's great. You'll love it, I promise. And then the last person that you need to check out is my friend Stephanie at Cade's Crafts. And I'll link all of these guys and anybody else I mentioned that has a floss tube. I'll link below in the show notes. So, but Cade's Crafts is Stephanie's channel. She just did her second floss tube. She also takes us on a little stitching journey because she found a whole bin of some of her stitching things from back when she was in college, and that's fun. It's just fun to see the like stuff from ages ago and where you were and where you are now as a stitcher. And she's just diving in head first, does a bunch of full coverage projects. Go check out Stephanie at Cade's Crafts. Okay, now on to what I've been stitching. I've been watching y'all stitch. Love the floss tube. Should I show you the finishes? Should we just start with finishes? Most people do. Okay. So when I left you last week, I was working on Autumn Pennies. I had finished Fancy Blacket. That was my first get it over finish, because I'm focusing on projects that I think I can finish in like 2 to 4 days this month, and I'm just finishing them. So I finished Fancy Blacket and I had started on Autumn Pennies. So Autumn Pennies got, how many more did I get? It did take me 2 more days after I saw you last Monday. I finished it, and then this weekend I FFO'd it because I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. Are you ready to see it? I am just so pleased with how it came out. There it is. I mounted it on top of this. It's a plastic jar. Can you hear that? It's not glass, so it's super light. And I'm using it as my little Ort jar next to my stitchy spot. So I mounted this up on the lid, and I kind of built it up as a pin cushion. And then I just put some ribbon around the edge to kind of finish it off and kind of hide the seam where I'd adhered the pin cushion I had built to the lid. And it's so cute. And I love it. Yay, so that's Autumn Pennies. This came out of the fall edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. The pattern is by Shakespeare's Peddler, Teresa Vanette. And it was a fun, cute stitch. I'm like such a sucker for penny rug. And so I loved this little Autumn Pennies. And honestly, this kind of goes with my decor. I kind of do jewel tones, warm tones anyway. I know, right? It looks like it, but just imagine it goes with the murder wall downstairs. So actually our family room where I have my stitchy spot is like a grayish. So, and then I figure if I am working and I want to have maybe thread up multiple needles with a couple different colors, I can stick them in the top and keep them there. And then at night when I'm done stitching, I can stick my quartz in. So finish and FFO, red letter week. Okay, my other finish was a knitting finish. And I had showed last week that I was working on this like turban twist headband. And I did finish it up and I got it all like seamed and everything. I'll show you guys, even though I was wearing it yesterday with my, oh, that's not bad, actually. I was thinking it's wash day, and so I didn't want to, mash down the curls. Because today was wash day, so this is like fresh curls. But yesterday, the hair was all up in a ponytail, messy bun, and I think it just makes you look a little more pulled together. It came out so well. I had mentioned, I can't remember the name of the kind of sort of pattern I used. But I'll link it below again. It's linked in last week's show. And it had mentioned that you need like 50 grams. And I had 49 of this DK weight. I have a tiny head. So I ended up using 45. And honestly, like, it works great. I love it. But I also think if I make another one, which honestly I probably will, it's so cute and comfortable, I wouldn't make it as wide. Like, I don't think it needs to be that wide for my head. My little head. So there's my little headband, and this yarn was left over from my Empower People bandana, and it's from Three Fates yarn in the colorway Mosey, and it's gorgeous and I love it. And I learned that this is seed stitch. So look at me learning all of the knitting things. So that is the knitting finish. I love it, and I think I'm totally gonna make. I mean, anytime I think that I have leftover yarn. Also, mini skeins. Is this a great use for mini skeins or what? There's all kinds of patterns with different. I think this would be a great way to learn cables because there's some with cables. Big talk for me, cables. It requires a whole other needle. I have no idea. We're a ways away from cables. Okay, so those were the two finishes. On to the other things I worked on, other works in progress. First thing I'll show you is full coverage. My full coverage piece of the week, I only have two. I have two full coverage projects. I rotate them on a weekly basis. This week it was Farewell to Anger. Artwork by Leonid Avramov. Charted, I don't know that I'm pronouncing his name right. Leonid Avramov. Charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, Farewell to Anger. This is just the regular chart. It's regular size, regular color. So it's not a mini, it's not super size max color. And here is where I got to on that. So I brought this diagonal all the way down, and now I'm gonna start back up at the top. I felt like I was moving slow on this. I didn't work on it every night because I didn't take it with me down to Olympia, and then Saturday night, I was so tired. I didn't sleep well at the hotel for reasons that I won't go into. We had noisy neighbors. Abby had taken some melatonin and crashed early. They didn't bother her, and that's all I cared about. But I crashed hard on Saturday night and didn't even really stitch. So I didn't stitch on this every night, but the nights that I did, I felt like I was moving slow, like I wasn't getting very many stitches in per hour. And I don't know if it's just because it was pretty confetti heavy until I got right here. Like this last chunk last night went pretty quick, and I have a few stitches in the wrong color. I noticed there's this like brighter orange is the wrong color. Like you can see there's 7 or 8 stitches. Yeah, I'm leaving it. I'm not fixing it. Not fixing that, you'll never know. But I love this piece. And so even though I don't feel like I got a ton of progress on it this week, it did get some love. I just feel like I don't know if I wasn't in the groove with it this week or what, but you can see I did put some more of those magnetic tie downs on it. Super helpful. Love them. I still have some thread peels on there too, but the grime guard is, sorry, I have it twisted up here to hold it back, but the grime guard is Garon tote bags, and it lives in a matching bag of theirs. And I love, they have this super big size. I think it's like a 13 by 18. Their bags are fantastic. And I love this really big one because it holds this 11 by 11 Q snap. Just fine. You can even stick your box of threads in there if you want. There's plenty of space. So that was full coverage. The other thing that I worked on every day last week was Hello Dear by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And I don't have, oh, I didn't even bring my phone up. Part 2 was released today. I've not finished part 1, but I made good progress, so I'm not fussed about it. I'll put a picture of what part 1 and part 2 that are released. I will put a picture of that in right here. So yeah, so that's what it's gonna look like. And as I mentioned last week, I was changing up his hat, the bird's hat, a little bit because I wanted it to be more winter, less Christmassy looking. And so I got that all done, and here is where I got to. So see, I'm doing pretty good. There's some holly, and like this pine cone isn't quite done, and there's some holly and berries. There's a couple leaves in here, and then that'll be it for part 1. But I'm working on this consistently. Every day I'm putting at least 2 lengths of floss in a day, sometimes more because this is such a fun stitch. So sometimes I put a few more in. But I changed his hat. I took just the tail off and made a little beanie and put the pom-pom on top. And then I just thought it needed a little something extra, so I just did a little bit of like back stitch smearing crosses over top to make it look like a little snowflake. A little snowflake beanie with a pom-pom on top. So cute. And the next part has that cute little, she says it's a squirrel. It looks kind of like a chipmunk to me because of the stripe on his tail, but he's adorable holding a little acorn. So I had said that I planned to work on this one, and then if I got it caught up, I would move back to Enjoy the Sunshine by Tempting Tangles. This is just, I'm not sure while I'm doing this that I'm going to be able to keep up with Enjoy the Sunshine. So I might have to pick that back up again and get that caught up after this finishes in November. So they're very different mystery stitch alongs. Tempting Tangles is tiny. It's tiny little, like, I think they're 47 by 47 square, each release every 2 weeks. So it's super easy in a couple days to get that done. This entire piece that's 128 by 63 is being released in 5 parts. So, I mean, you could see what 2 parts of it was, and the parts release every 2 weeks. So it's quite a bit of stitching for 2 weeks. But I think that that's actually great, because if you're a monogamous stitcher, there's plenty there to keep you stitching until the next release. For those of us like me who works on other things, it makes it so I'm maybe not going to be totally caught up. But I do like the process of just putting a strand in, a couple strands in every day. So we'll see. We'll see if next week how close I am to getting caught up on Hello Dear. Okay, so after I finished Autumn Pennies, I had to decide what my next project was that was close to a finish that I was going to pick up and work on until it was finished. I had a couple things. I had maybe 3 or 4 things in a pile that I had kind of pegged for this get it over. And this is the one that called to me, and so I picked up for the next finish, and that's Home of a Needleworker Squared by Little House Needleworks. This was a Mania start for me. I started this in Mania, and I had worked on it the one day in Mania, and one day, I think it was spun in Arbitrary August. So I think it got another day of work in Arbitrary August, and then I have given it 2 days so far in this past week, and I think it just needs like 1 more. So here's where I am. So when I picked it up, I think I had like a Home of a NE. So I put in needleworker, got the house in, started the bobbins, did here, some white up here, but it's pretty close. I just need to finish off these little thread spool. I think they're thread spools that have plants coming out of them. And then there's ABC, a couple needles, XYZ, a heart, and then some more of the red, finish up the red flowers around. But I really think it's 1 more decent day of stitching, 2 maybe light days of stitching, and then this will be done. And I'm excited. I think one of the reasons I was drawn to this is I know how I want to finish it. I have what I'm going to finish it on. So, you know, if you know how you're going to finish it, that always makes it a little more exciting. This I'm stitching on a 32 count linen. I think that I got this off Stash Unload. Yeah, I bought it off Stash Unload, and the only information that came with it was that it was a 32 count Belfast. It looks like dirty. It looks like dirty linen to me. Like the color dirty, not that it's dirty. That I got it from Stash Unload dirty. And then I'm using all the called for colors because this chart, I think it was a special release at Nashville. Yeah, it was a Nashville 2019 market release that you had to buy as like a kit. You bought the chart and the threads together. And it's 5 colors of classic colorworks, but they're all great colors. So I went mad about having to buy the colors with the chart. I don't know if they were the new colors for Nashville, maybe. What do I know? It's pine needles, trail dust, sticks and twigs, which this is the only sticks and twigs I have, and I love it. It's like a grayish brown. It's really good. Campfire and eggshell. So this is the next get it over, and it got a couple days of work, and it's really close to a finish, and then I'll have to go back to my pile and see what I want to finish next. Okay, so that brought me to, I finished Autumn Pennies on Wednesday, started Home of a Needleworker on Thursday, and then Friday, one of my whips had a birthday, and I always work on my whips on their birthday. So they get a little birthday love, and also it's a way for me to put my hands on every single one of my whips at least once a year and see if I still like them and want to finish them. So Cinnamon Stars had its birthday on Friday. It didn't get a whole bunch of work because it was a busy day, and then I had to drive down to Olympia, which is a couple hours away from me. But it did get some work once we got to the hotel. And if I have one, I will stick a picture of where it was when I started here. We'll see. You now know if there was a picture. I can't remember if I took a starting picture or not, but it's been a while since you've seen this, so that could be useful. And here is where I am now. So you can see I didn't get a ton of work. I added a few of these stones over here, and then my plan was to fill in this side of the house, but I'm still missing a color. Actually, I'm not missing a color. I was missing a color. I was missing walnut, because last fall you could not get Gentle Arts walnut anywhere. Like everybody was out of it. It's been backordered forever. It must finally be back because it came in one of my nest eggs. So I had walnut here at home. I had this project down in Olympia. So instead of doing that, I moved over to this peak and put this peak in and that little quilt star and started filling in the rest of the house. So that's where I got to. Not a ton of work, but it got a little love on its birthday, and I still adore this pattern. I definitely want to keep it and keep working on it, and it'll get done when it gets done. I'm stitching this on a 36 count Old Town Blend by R&R. I'm reading the tag that's still on it. And yes, this is another project where, I mean, I could totally cut this off. I probably should. Maybe I'll do that before I put it away, because I'm not down to the bottom, but I mean, it's got to only go to like here, right? Like if I cut it in half, that'd be fine, I'm sure. So, and I'm doing that with all the called for colors, including the walnut now, which I still have to put in here. But hopefully the next time I pull it out to work on it, I'll be here at home, and that will be no big deal. I'll just go grab it out of my stash. All right, so that was Friday. And then on Saturday, it was Heather, Link is my homeboy's birthday. And she decided to do a hashtag last minute birthday sal. So she said, just stitch on something small, maybe a freebie, anything that tickles your fancy in that way. And I decided it would be a perfect excuse to start this little ornament that is from the, is this October? Yeah, the October issue of Just Cross Stitch. You can see I've flagged the things that I liked, because I am trying to stitch one thing out of every magazine that I get. Otherwise, what's the point of getting them? So I thought this one was really, I like this one too, but I really like this one, and I have maybe a finishing idea depending on how big it is. So I decided I was going to start this one for the hashtag last minute birthday sal, and I really just got to start on it. That's it. Only got to start on it. I started on this 32 count Haunted Belfast linen, and I have a bat. I have a bat. That's as far as I got on Saturday before Abby was done with her test and it was time to go home. So I picked this because this is the piece that I stitched Michelle Bendy Stitchy's Halloween ornament on. And I think if they're about the same size, I think I can finish them the same way. And then I'll have a pair. And then maybe I can find, maybe next year there'll be another couple ornaments and I have more of the little frames that I'm going to put them in. So I have a bat. Actually, when I finish Home of a Needleworker, I think I'll come back and finish this up, because this will be a day of stitching. Seriously, it's tiny. I think it's 60 by 60, if that. So that's just black. I also pulled, it's charted in all DMC. But I'm going to use the black, and it calls for winter white, but I think I'm going to just use the 5200. It calls for a gray. I'm going to use Color and Cotton Marsh, and it calls for an orange, and I'm going to use this Color and Cotton that doesn't have a name, but I'm pretty sure came out of the like fall Halloween mystery box from last year. So it doesn't have a name. That's Color and Cotton. Okay, so that was kind of an unexpected start, but I was thrilled to jump in. I'll jump in on just about anybody's birthday stitch along, because I think it's just a really fun thing that we do as a community to celebrate everybody's birthday. And it was a great excuse to start something from a magazine, and that fits for the monthly magazine challenge group on Facebook, which I'll link below, because their theme this month is spooky, Halloween, haunted, something like that. So there's that. Then on, let me flip my planner. So then on Sunday, I went back to Home of a Needleworker. I was kind of tempted to just keep finishing up that Bats and Owls, but I was like, no, I'm supposed to be focusing on one finish at a time. So I went back to Home of a Needleworker. And then today is the 12th, which means on the 12th, I always stitch on Crosses of the Kingdom. And I say always, and I mean mostly. Last month on the 12th, I just was not feeling this piece and I didn't work on it. So I knew I had to. As much as I really just want to finish up Crosses of the Kingdom, like I'm going to finish this puppy up anytime soon. As much as I wanted to finish up Home of a Needleworker, this needed to get its due. I am stitching this for my parents for their 50th anniversary. That's coming up in a little less than 2 years. And you're like, 2 years, Erin, you got time. This is a, don't know what happened there. Camera just decided to shut down. Was it a storage issue? Not sure what happened. Where was I? Crosses of the Kingdom. Yeah, so stitching this for my parents. 50th anniversary coming up someday. It may take me this long to finish this, but I did get some work on it today. So here is where it is now. The only thing I did today was I filled in all of this, like the little gold filigree back stitch in this section here, which means this whole huge motif is done. I don't know what month I started this, but that's what I started on. Hold on, let me look, because I have all of my works in progress listed in my planner. I was chatting with my friend Alicia at Resist Stitch, and we were talking whip counts, and she made me, but because we were chatting about it, I was like, oh, I wonder where I am at. 61, which is about what I expected. It's about what I expected. It's fine. Not worried about it. I started this back in February. So I started this in February, and I started with this big, and this huge motif here has been a beast, which I would worry about it taking that long, but it really is this whole section. Like a lot of these little crosses are going to be quite a bit faster, but some of them, like I was going to maybe start this one today. That's all black work back stitch, and I'm just slow. I think I'm just slow at it, but this whole motif is done, and I started on this one down here. So this did get a little bit of work today, and you know, I'll just keep plugging away at it, and when we get closer to their anniversary, probably the year of their anniversary, I'll get very serious about finishing it. But in the meantime, plugging away on Crosses of the Kingdom. Okay, so that's it for works in progress. However, when I'm done recording here, there is one more thing that I want to start today. So I guess we'll just move into plans. Plans for the week. Let me look and see if anything else has a, I don't have anything else that has a birthday this week, or don't have any of my other regular monthly projects in this week. It's a wide open week for Get It Over, and then I have 2 new starts. So the one that I'm going to start as soon as we're done here, and I am hoping will be a start and a finish today, is Artist Designs No New Worlds, because today is Indigenous Peoples Day. Yay! Let's celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. And I love this. This is a design by, as you said, Art Designs. The lovely, incomparable Amanda May. Her designs are on Gumroad. I will link that below. So it's kind of a pay what you want, but you know, if you can, pay your creators. And I love this. I love the sentiment behind it, and it's the perfect day to stitch it. So the wording, No New Worlds, she notes in her pattern, was inspired by the Speedwell art installation of Still Moving. And it's a art installation that is in Plymouth at the Breakwater to kind of remind us that there are no new worlds. This was not a new world here in North America when the first settlers arrived. It was not a new world. People were here before us. And here in Seattle area, in the Puget Sound area, there were a lot of different First Nations, Native American tribes here when we expanded out west and took over. So I know right where I am is where I am living is the Snoqualmie tribe. Seattle itself is named for a chief, but that does not mean that we have done a great job in this area about being respectful and mindful of Indigenous people who lived here before we came and took over. So there's a lot of tribes in the Pacific Northwest. There's the Duwamish, the Snohomish, the Snoqualmie, Muckleshoot. There's a lot. So I encourage you to like look it up. There's cool websites and apps that you can to look up and find out who the native people were that were on the land that you are now living on. So I thought this would be the perfect thing to stitch today. And I picked out a fantastic fabric and floss to stitch it because I loved how she did this in Sulky. She used Sulky 4010 Caramel Apple, and this is so pretty in a variegated thread. So I wanted to pick a variegated thread, and so I pulled this one that came out of the Black Needle Society Fall Into Stitching retreat box. So I posted up that unboxing last week. So if you have a chance to check it out, that box is so good. So good. And this was one of the things in it was this forbidden fiber in Scarecrow. So I thought that would look amazing. And I picked this 36 count River Rock by Color and Cotton. So it's not going to take this whole piece, but like, see, look how good that's going to look. I think that's going to be amazing with this floss. So hopefully I will get to show you that as a finish next week because it's not big. It's not big at all. What is it? It's a little pattern. 40 by 50 some, 40 some by 50 some. Oh, 54 by 39. It says right on the cover sheet. So if you want to stitch that up for Indigenous Peoples Day, or, you know, I mean, I celebrate my birthday all month. Let's celebrate our Indigenous peoples all month. How about that? That sounds fantastic. And then we'll roll right into Thanksgiving next month. Actually, today is Canadian Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Canadian friends. This won't be posted till tomorrow. I hope all of my Canadian friends had a lovely Thanksgiving. It feels like this would be a great time to celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't know why we do it so late. I mean, I'll take a big old turkey dinner anytime. Let's be real. Okay, my other start that I'm going to start tomorrow is Heartstring Samplery, What a Time to Be Alive. And I'm starting this for Annie's Joy-Filled Stitchers birthday stitch along. Yay! And she is doing, I think she's going to do like a live stitch and chat. So if this is up before then and you watch it, I don't know that you're going to catch it. Hopefully you're already subscribed to Annie and have the notifications on, because I think I'm going to wait to start this with her on her stitch and chat. This is an exclusive chart to Acorns and Threads. So you can see it's beautiful. It says, what a time to be alive. And then there is some charting down here as well. And she gives you a full alphabet if you want to change that up. She stitched it in, Beth Twist stitched it in this beautiful, like soothing monochrome. It's charted with like 5 colors. So you can either do this in the colors that she charted it in, or I mean, you can stitch in anything, right? But if you are not into monochromatic pieces, just know it is charted in like 4 different colors. This is what I am going to try. I don't know if I really want to love this fabric and floss combo, and I'm praying that when I start stitching it, I love it. If I don't, I have a backup plan. It's fine. So my idea is I'm going to bust out this beautiful Bee Stitch Me silk in autumn to stitch all of the, pots and plants motif. And then I'm going to use this beautiful Mrs. Sadis. And I don't know if you can see in this light, but it really does. Can you see like this color? Like it does match really. It coordinates really beautifully. I'm going to do the words, "What a Time to Be Alive" in this. And I'm going to do it on this piece of Bee Stitch Me fabric in Boot Camp. So this is the plan. The only reason I worry about this is because this is very similar to that variegated thread that I started, that like take 2 of Metamorphosis was in, that I didn't love. So we'll see. This silk is so beautiful. Brandy's dyeing is just gorgeous. So this is the plan. If I start stitching it up in this variegated silk and I don't love it, I'm going to switch to doing just this on a different neutral fabric that I have. So I'm going to give this a try first though. And next week when I come back, you'll see whether or not this was the go or if I ended up switching it up. But that's the plan to celebrate my dear friend Annie's birthday tomorrow. I'm not kidding. I'm in for all of the birthdays. Are you having a birthday and doing a stitch along? I'm in. Let me know. I want to celebrate all the birthdays because, we don't really celebrate a lot of times as adults our birthdays that much. Don't have the big parties anymore. I mean, I guess we could. Not now. Not during COVID, but in general, the birthdays aren't that big of a deal when you're an adult. So I say, let's all celebrate them together. So plans, no New Worlds tonight. What a Time to Be Alive tomorrow. Harry Potter book covers is going to be back out in rotation this week. Stitch on Hello Dear every day and continue Get It Over. So hopefully next week I'll be coming back with several more finishes. That's the plan. Oh, next Sunday is the 18th. So I will be stitching on Stars Bright. How is this coming Sunday, the 18th of October already? How did the first half of the year crawl by in an agonizing manner and now it's just flying? It's flying. I don't even know. Do we all have plans for trick-or-treating yet? Trying to figure out if we're going to have any kids. We don't normally have a lot of kids to begin with. Trying to decide, do I just set the candy out? What are we all doing? What's everybody doing about trick-or-treating? My kids are older. They don't do trick-or-treating. Okay. Oh, I didn't show my knitting whip. I did have one other knitting whip. It's sitting here staring at me. I finished the headband, and then I also continued to work on my grandmother's shawl. So I'm doing this for my grandmother for Christmas. Hopefully it'll be done. It's the Blue Jean Saturday Shawl by OC Knit Designs. It's, black and white, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. You see it has eyelet sections, it has garter sections. And I did make some progress. I was kind of focusing on getting that headband done because I need the needles. I'm taking a virtual knitting workshop this coming Saturday for beginner knitters on like basic fixes, like how to fix mistakes. But there's you have to do a little homework swatch, and I needed the needles that headband was on to do my homework swatch. So, but I did get some work in this. You can see here's my little progress marker down there. So you can see I got quite a bit of this garter section done, but it's not this garter section isn't quite finished. I did put in another lifeline, another proactive lifeline in case I messed up. I figure I'll put one in at the beginning of every section because now it just repeats. Lace section, garter section. So I'll show you. Annie, I don't know if we were chatting about it and she told me this or she showed it in one of her floss tubes, but I know we were chatting about keeping track of where you are in a pattern, and she shared with me that she does like a spreadsheet. I think she does a cell for every single line. I kind of did, I'll cover it up so you can't totally see, but I made this in Excel, but this is all the rows in the garter section, and you have to repeat the garter section several times. How many times do I repeat it? I think 4. Yeah, 4 garter sections. So I put 4 sets of cells here so I can highlight each row as I do it and I don't get lost. So you can see I still have some rows here to go in the garter section. And then I go back to the lace section and I have a spreadsheet for the lace section. So I think I'm going to keep going on this week until I finish that garter section, and then I'm going to switch back to my lentilla and do a few ruffles in my lentilla, and then I'll come back and do a lace section, on and on and on and on, and then hopefully this will be done in time for it to send to my grandmother for Christmas, but I think it should be. I mean, the rows do get longer, but it's going well. I mean, this garter section is really easy to knit and it's really pretty. So I am knitting this on, since I don't know, I'm supposed to say these things, right? What are these, size 5? I think they're size 5. I can't read that, that's tiny. I think they're size 5. It'll say down in the description box below, and I'm stitching it with this Malabrigo finger weight soft yarn in a colorway Jupiter. It'll all be in the, I'm clearly not nearly as good at this knitting information as I am the cross stitch information, but it's going well. I think it's going well. And these make me feel a lot better. I mean, I've not had to rip back to one. I don't know if I could actually, even if I rip back to the lifeline, I'm not sure I have that much faith that I could get it back on the needles, but this is why I'm taking a workshop on how to fix mistakes, because right now I'm kind of white knuckling it that I don't screw stuff up. So the knitting plans, work on that till the garter section is done, then switch back to the lentilla, and I also need to knit up my homework swatch for the workshop this weekend, which should be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. They had a ton of, I think it's called the Woolen Sheep Festival. I will link it below because there are so many different sessions you can go to, like from beginner to super advanced stuff. So you might want to check it out. It starts Thursday. They have sessions Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day. And I am assuming they're on Zoom or some type of interface. And yeah, so if any of you want to check it out, I think it's typically held obviously in person in Rhinebeck, New York. And Annie was the one who told me about it. She said, hey, I'm signed up for this workshop. Sounds like something you might like. Yeah. That's why I love friends like this. They point you in the direction of all these fun things. Okay, plans, haul. I have a few things. I have a little bit of happy mail and a little bit of stitchy haul and a tiny little bit of knitting haul. So we'll do happy mail first. I got the most amazing package in the mail this week, totally unexpected, from the beautiful and wonderful Lynn X Stitches Creates. So you can find her on Instagram. I'll link her below. But there's her information. And she makes bags, and she sent me a bag because she said she saw the fabric and it reminded her of me. Can't imagine why. Look how amazing this is. And one, it's like a nice big bag. I don't know, could you fit an 11 by 11 Q snap in here? I feel like you could. hold on, let me get my farewell to anger. I'm thinking that I might save this and put pandemic in it when oh, you totally can. You can totally put an 11 by 11 pre-snap in here, I'm sure. If I zipped it closed. Oh yeah, look at that. No problem. Look how beautiful of a size of bag this is. That's amazing. So I think this would be great to like wrangle all of the fabric and floss I'm gonna need for pandemic. But it's beautifully stitched, and it cracked me up because this came and I had already ordered another bag from her because she did the most amazing RBG bags. So, but look at those corners. I mean, this is beautifully made. Beautifully made. So I know we've already chatted, but thank you so much. I love it. And it's totally me. Totally me. I love the umbrellas. Anyhow, so check her out on Instagram. And I give her bags a highly recommend. And this is the most fun, fantastic bag. And I know it seems like this might not be the right bag for pandemic, but trust me, it is, because it's been a lot of drinking to get through the COVID times. Okay, so Stitchy haul. I had a couple things come in the past week. I had my Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month come in. I am in the neutral. I get the neutral colorway from Color and Cotton in a 36 count linen, and this is called Prairie Dust. Look how amazing that is. It's so good. This is like a perfect like gray, taupey grayish. I'll get it up close so you can see. It's just got sampler written all over it. Put a sampler on me. That's what it said. Did you hear it? I also got my nest egg. I think these were September. These were the September threads. So I get 10 Gentle Arts from 3 Owl Threads. And I get 10 Color and Cotton. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but I'm just going to try to hold them out here. So here's the Gentle Arts. See, and this is how I managed to get walnut. Was because I think if she's out, these go in alphabetical order, so you can see we're in like L. Sometimes like she has to go back and pick one up if it was out, but like maple syrup is in there. There's some good colors in here this month. So there's the Gentle Arts threads. These will just go into my Fancy Floss spreadsheet. I do love a spreadsheet. I love a good spreadsheet. So all my Fancy Floss is in a spreadsheet. And then I know which projects they're in. I know what I have and I know what projects they're in. And then I also get 10 classic color works. And there are some good colors in this one too. Oh, good. Okay, so there's the classic color works. And hello, this one is Erin Go Emerald. Is that not the most amazing color? It's my color. It's my color. I gotta find a special project for that Erin Go Emerald. But great colors. I am a fan. And I think that signups for the nest eggs are on hold right now until supply gets a little better, but I will link 3 Owl Threads below because fantastic service. I also got this. It's not really stitchy, but sort of, just because, I don't know. I always love that was loud. Seeing people's finishing things. I picked these up at Target in the, dollar spot. That's not really a dollar, but these were $3 for 3 of these little hanging things, and I thought they'd be perfect to mount little stitches on, mount little cross stitches on. So, they're cute in general. Night Owl Tavern. That's me. That's where I live. Right there. Night Owl Tavern. Hook me up with a permanent room. I'll bring the stitching. Okay, and then the last thing I got was some Yes, some more yarn. This is from Treehouse Knits, and they do kind of a mystery colorway. And there's an inspiration picture. You can see the picture that she's drawing her inspiration from. And so the September picture looked pretty incredible. So I bought the September mystery color, and it came today. It didn't come today, it came last week. I got a DK weight, so it's 100 grams. And look at that gorgeousness. I mean, hello. If that's not everything autumn, look at that right there. So good. So that's Treehouse Knits on Etsy. I'll link them below. And I ordered this thinking that, you know, from the inspiration picture, that it was going to be pretty fun and autumny and squishy. And I think I'm going to do the honey cowl on this. So I might cast that on next week after my workshop. So yeah, it's happening. I'm a yarn hoarder now. I buy the yarn. This one I kind of had a purpose for. I've got a lot of yarn with no purpose, just because it's pretty. That's okay. All right, so that's all the haul and happy mail. I think we've hit everything. Let's do giveaway. It's giveaway time. So last week the giveaway was, oh, I didn't bring them up. It was for some of these. Yes. And I said I was going to give away a set of these little stretchy tie things that seem to be taking the cross stitch world by storm. Just the way the thread peels did, these seem to be taking the cross stitch world by storm. I'm seeing them everywhere now. They are really great. And let me tell you, I asked you just to tell me if you stitch full coverage projects, if you wanted to be entered to get a set of the magnetic tiebacks. There are a lot of you with a lot of full coverage projects. Like, wow, I want to see all these full coverage projects. Bring them on. So many people were like, oh yeah, I have 5 heights going. Yes, I love it. Because to me, it's like hope, right? Like, I feel like I'm hopeful. Like, this to me represents my hope. I don't even know which way's up. There's not even that much time. This is like a 10-year project. You're living in hope if you have 5 heights going. I love it. Love it. Love it. So I used random YouTube comment picker, and the winner was Christy Martin. Christy Martin, you won! And you filled out my Google form. So those will be on their way to you this week. What I loved is Christy told me that she has full coverage projects in her stash and she needs to kit one up. So yeah, I think this is a sign, Christy. Kit one of those puppies up and use the little magnetic tiebacks. Yay! All right, what am I giving away this week? I figured since it's October and tomorrow's Dark 13 stitching and I'm working on small things I can finish up, I would give away something small that's October that you could finish up. So I'm gonna give away this little cute little prairie schooler card. It's like a little haunted house. I love the moon's face. I love, like, the moon actually looks surprised or scared in there. I don't know, that cracks me up. So if you would like to be in the drawing to win this, just put, I want to stitch the moon or something about the moon. Moon is what I'm going to look for. Make sure that you are 18, that you have filled out my Happy Mail form. It's a Google form link at the very top of the description box. Don't say giveaway, I will delete your comment, but tell me you want to stitch the moon and I will give that away next week. So I think that's it. I think we did all the things based on the mess I have around me. So I am going to go, I'm going to finish up my cider and stitch up that No New Worlds piece tonight. And I will be back next week for another cross stitch happy hour. Well, nope, maybe we'll be back for happy hour. I love a good happy hour. So until then, stay safe, have a great week, make sure that you have a plan to vote. Check your registration. Registration deadlines are already passed in some states. And I know that y'all think, well, I've been registered for years and I've been voting for years. Check your registration. People get purged all the time. Annie, Joyful Stitcher, has been registered since she was 18, and she shared in her last Flosstube video, she had been purged from the voter rolls and had to re-register. She would have had no idea if she didn't check. Check your registration, make a plan to vote. See you next week.